The night was dark on the alien world. The sky was heavy with thick clouds, and a strange green lightning flashed far above the mountains. The air smelled like burning metal, sharp and bitter. A human traveler walked carefully along a narrow path. His boots crunched against the glowing stones that lit the ground faintly. He was alone, far from home, far from any safety. He had come to this planet searching for trade, maybe work, maybe answers. But now he only found silence. Silence until he heard it, a sound. At first he thought it was only the wind. A soft cry carried through the trees. But the more he listened, the more certain he became. It was not the wind. It was a voice. A young voice. A child. The human stopped walking. He gripped the small knife at his belt. His heart beat faster. Who could it be? On this planet, he was told, children never wandered at night. Too dangerous. Too many soldiers. Too many beasts. The cry came again. A broken, desperate voice. Please. Help. Help. The human's breath caught in his throat. He should turn back. He should run. But something inside him, something deeply human, pulled him forward. He could not ignore the sound of a child in pain. He stepped off the path and moved into the glowing forest. Tall trees rose above him, their branches glowing faintly with blue fireflies. Strange shadows danced across the ground. The crying grew louder. He followed it step by step until he saw her. It was a little girl, but not a human girl. She was small, thin, with pale blue skin that glimmered under the moonlight. Her hair was silver, tangled with leaves. Her eyes were wide and bright, glowing faintly like stars. Tears ran down her cheeks, shining like liquid glass. The human froze. His knife stayed in his hand. He did not know if this was a trick, some alien trap, a test to catch travelers like him. Yet the girl looked too broken, too real. She looked up at him. Her lips trembled. Human, she whispered. Her voice cracked with fear. Please, please save my mom. The word struck him like a hammer. She knew what he was. She called him by name. Human, how? Why? He had never seen her before. He had never spoken to anyone like her. He stepped closer, his voice low. Who are you? Where is your mother? The girl sobbed and reached out a shaking hand. They took her. Soldiers, she is hurt. She cannot run, please. Only you can help, please. The human's stomach turned. He looked around quickly. The forest was too quiet now. No sound of soldiers. No sound of beasts. Only the girl's broken voice. His mind told him to walk away. This was not his fight. He was just one man lost in a galaxy too big for him. But his heart told him something else. A child was crying. A mother was in danger. He bent down on one knee and looked into her glowing eyes. If I help, they will hunt me too. Do you understand? The girl nodded, her tears falling faster. Yes, but if you don't, my mom will die. The human closed his eyes for a moment. He thought of Earth, of home, of the mothers and children he had once known. He thought of all the times humans had chosen to help even when it meant danger. Humanity was small compared to the galaxy, but their courage made them large. He opened his eyes again. Take me to her. The girl gasped in relief. She grabbed his hand, small and cold, and pulled him forward. This way, hurry, before they find us. The human followed, moving quickly between glowing trees. The forest seemed alive, watching them. Every branch creaked like footsteps. Every shadow looked like an enemy. As they ran, he asked, Why me? Why not your own people? The girl's voice shook. Because they fear humans. Because only a human can save her. You are different. Different. The word echoed in his mind. Different how? He had no answers yet. They reached a ridge. From there he could see lights in the distance, red and sharp like the eyes of machines. Soldiers. They were searching, sweeping the forest with bright beams. The girl pulled him down quickly. Quiet. They are close. He crouched beside her, his knife still ready. His heart pounded in his chest. The soldiers were only minutes away. The girl leaned close, whispering again, If they find us, they will kill you too. The human stared into the darkness. His journey had changed in a single moment. He was no longer just a traveler. Now he was protector, fighter, and maybe something more. Somewhere ahead, an alien mother was waiting. Somewhere ahead, danger was rising. He tightened his grip on the knife. His jaw hardened. Then let's make sure they don't find us, he said quietly. The girl's eyes glowed with fragile hope. Together they slipped deeper into the shadows toward an unknown fate. The hunt had begun. The forest was alive with whispers. Every tree seemed to lean closer, listening. Every glowing leaf trembled as if it knew danger was near. The human and the alien girl moved quickly but carefully, their feet silent against the damp ground. Behind them, the faint hum of search drones floated through the night air. Red lights flashed between the trees, sweeping across the forest like hunting eyes. The human gripped the girl's hand tighter. "Keep low. Don't look back," but the girl couldn't help it. She glanced over her shoulder and gasped. "They're coming closer." The human crouched beside a giant root, pulling her down with him. He studied the movement of the red lights. Soldiers were spreading out, pushing deeper into the forest. Their armor gleamed in the dark, black and silver, with helmets that shone like metal skulls. Each carried a weapon that hummed with deadly energy. The human's chest tightened. These were no ordinary guards. These were hunters, he whispered. "Why do they want your mother?" The girl pressed her small hands against her chest, her glowing eyes wide with fear. "Because she knows a secret. A dangerous secret. If they catch her, they will silence her forever." The human frowned. "What kind of secret?" She shook her head quickly. "I can't say, not here. They might hear." The human glanced at the sky. The clouds had begun to break, and thin rays of moonlight touched the forest floor. For a moment he saw the girl's tears glisten again, bright as stars. She was terrified, but beneath that fear he saw something else, hope. She believed in him. He turned his eyes back to the soldiers. Their formation was tightening. They were skilled, like wolves closing in on prey. "Move," he whispered. "Stay close." They crept forward, slipping between thick roots and glowing mushrooms that gave off a faint, cold light. The girl's breathing was quick, almost too loud. The human placed a finger against his lips and she nodded, forcing herself to stay quiet. For several minutes they moved like shadows. But then a sudden mechanical screech split the silence. A drone. It hovered above them, its red eye glowing brighter as it locked onto movement. The girl gasped softly. The human acted fast. He grabbed a rock from the ground and hurled it with all his strength. The stone struck the drone's sensor. Sparks flew and the machine spun wildly before crashing into a tree. The noise was deafening. The forest echoed with the sound of metal breaking. The human cursed under his breath. "Now they know where we are." The girl clutched his arm, her voice trembling. "They'll come fast. We have to run." And so they ran. Branches whipped against their faces. The ground sloped downward, leading them toward a swamp that glowed faintly green. Strange insects buzzed in the air, their bodies flickering like fire. The human's boots sank slightly into the wet earth, but he pushed forward. Behind them, the forest erupted with shouts and lights. The soldiers were closing in. Their weapons fired blasts of blue energy, striking trees and exploding bark into splinters. One blast struck the ground near the human's foot, throwing up dirt and glowing dust. The girl screamed, but he pulled her onward. Through the swamp, over fallen logs, deeper into darkness. His lungs burned, his muscles ached, but he would not stop. Finally, they slid behind a wall of thick vines, gasping for air. For the moment, they were hidden. The human pressed his back against the damp stone and listened. The soldiers' voices echoed faintly, growing louder as they searched the swamp. The girl buried her face against his arm, whispering, "They won't stop. They will hunt us until we are caught." The human placed a hand on her shoulder. His voice was steady, calm, but his eyes were sharp. "Then we can't just run. We need to think." The girl looked up at him, confused. "Think?" "Yes," he said, peering through the vines at the glowing swamp. "We use the forest. We use their strength against them. That's how humans survive." The girl's eyes filled with fragile hope again. "You have a plan?" The human's lips curved into a thin, determined smile. "Not yet, but I will." And then through the swamp mist a shadow moved, taller, darker, heavier than any soldier. The girl's eyes widened in horror. "They sent the beast," she whispered. The human tensed, gripping his knife. The chase was no longer the only threat. Something far worse had joined the hunt. The swamp mist clung to their clothes, heavy and wet. The human's knife glimmered faintly in the moonlight, his hand steady though his heart raced. Beside him the alien girl trembled, her glowing eyes locked on the shifting shadow ahead. "The beast," she whispered again, her voice cracking. But then, just as the shape lunged closer, something else called out. A weak voice carried through the mist. "Child. Here. This way." The girl's head snapped around. Her eyes widened with shock. "Mom!" The human didn't hesitate. He pulled the girl forward, slipping through the vines, ignoring the heavy footsteps that shook the swamp behind them. The shadow beast roared, its cry echoing through the trees, but the voice guided them away deeper into the forest, until they stumbled into a hidden cave. Inside, the air was warmer, lit by glowing crystals that pulsed gently like heartbeats. And there, lying against the stone wall, was the mother. She was older, tall, and regal even in her weakness. Her skin was the same pale blue as her daughter's, but it was streaked with deep wounds. Her silver hair was tangled, and her breathing was shallow. Yet her eyes, glowing faintly, were sharp with intelligence. The girl ran to her side, falling to her knees. "Mom, I found him. I brought the human." The mother's gaze lifted slowly. She studied the stranger standing in the cave entrance. Her voice was faint, but her words were clear. "So it is true." A human answered the call. The human frowned, stepping closer but keeping his knife in hand. "What call?" "I only followed a child crying in the dark." The mother coughed, her chest rising weakly. Then, with trembling fingers, she reached beneath her torn cloak. She pulled out a small crystal glowing with soft blue light. It was no ordinary stone. It seemed alive, humming, its light flickering in rhythm with her heartbeat. "This," she whispered. "This is why they hunt me. This is why I cannot run." The human's eyes narrowed. "A rock?" The girl shook her head quickly. "Not a rock. A key," the mother nodded. "Yes, a key to a secret that was buried long ago. If the soldiers take it, the galaxy will never be free." The cave seemed to pulse with the crystal's light, shadows shifting like they were alive. The human felt a strange pull inside his chest, as if the stone recognized him. He stepped closer without meaning to, his hand twitching at his side. The mother noticed. Her tired eyes softened. "It responds to you," the human froze. "What do you mean?" Her voice lowered, urgent despite her weakness. "Only a human can carry it. Only a human can unlock what it hides. That is why I sent my daughter to find you. You are not here by accident. You were chosen." The human shook his head sharply. "Chosen? I'm just a traveler. I don't believe in destiny." The mother's lips curved into a faint, sad smile. "Believe it or not, the galaxy has been waiting for you." Before the human could speak again, the girl clutched his sleeve. "You must protect her, please, if they find this cave." Her words broke off as a sharp sound echoed outside. A metallic click, a soldier's voice. They had been followed. The human's body tensed instantly. He pushed the girl behind him and raised his knife. Red light from a search drone flickered at the cave's entrance, sweeping across the glowing walls. The mother's hand tightened around the crystal. "Take it," she whispered fiercely. "If I fall, it must not be captured. Do you hear me, human? It must live through you." The human stared at the stone, its light now pulsing faster, brighter, as if it sensed the danger closing in. His instincts screamed at him to refuse, to leave it, to run. But something deeper inside, something he couldn't name, told him he had no choice. He reached out slowly. The crystal felt warm, alive, almost like a heartbeat when it touched his skin. A surge of energy shot through him, sharp and electric. His vision blurred for a moment, and strange symbols burned into his mind, glowing words in a language he did not know. The girl gasped. The mother's eyes widened in awe, and outside, the soldiers shouted as heavy boots struck the ground. They were no longer hunting, they had found them. The cave walls shook as the sound of boots and metal rang outside. Red lights flickered through the cracks, painting the stone in blood-colored glow. The human gripped the crystal tightly in one hand, his knife in the other. His chest burned with fear and fury. The alien girl pressed against his side, trembling. "They're here. They'll take her. They'll kill us all." Her mother's weak voice cut through the panic. "Listen, human. You must choose now. Run with the crystal and save yourself, or stay and fight with us." The human's heart hammered. He had been many things in his life, a wanderer, a worker, a fighter for survival, but never a hero. Heroes belonged in stories, not in men like him, and yet looking at the girl's tear-streaked face and the mother's dying eyes filled with faith, he felt something shift inside. He clenched his jaw. "I won't run." The mother's lips curved into a faint smile. "Then you are truly human." Shadows moved at the entrance. Soldiers stormed in, their black armor glinting, their weapons humming with deadly blue energy. The human leapt forward before fear could stop him. He snatched up a broken crystal shard from the ground and hurled it. The shard shattered against the first soldier's visor, cracking the glass. The man stumbled back with a roar, firing wildly. Blue bolts scorched the cave walls. The girl screamed, ducking down. As sparks rained from the stone, the human rushed the second soldier, ducking under the barrel of his gun, and drove his knife upward into the gap of the armor. The soldier howled, collapsing. The human ripped the weapon from his hands, now holding alien steel that pulsed with strange energy. The crystal in his other hand glowed brighter, as if feeding his courage. The soldiers hesitated, their red eyes fixed on him. A human with their weapon? A human carrying the crystal? It made them pause, if only for a second. The mother seized the moment. With her last strength, she lifted her hand and slammed it against the glowing cave wall. Strange symbols lit up, racing across the stone like fire. The entire cave pulsed with alien energy. The girl gasped. "She's calling the old power." The human didn't understand, but he didn't need to. He raised the stolen weapon and fired. A soldier fell back in a blast of blue light. Another staggered, armor smoking, but there were too many. More poured into the cave, their shouts echoing. The human's breath came heavy. His arms ached. His legs burned. Yet he kept fighting. Slash, strike, fire. Every move was survival. Every move was defiance. The girl clung to her mother, sobbing. "Please don't leave me, please." The mother's hand stroked her daughter's hair gently, her voice soft despite the chaos. "Do not cry, my star. The human will protect you now." Her eyes turned to him, sharp even in her weakness. "Take her and run when you must. But keep the crystal. Promise me." The human gritted his teeth, sweat and dust streaking his face. "I promise," a soldier roared and charged. The human dodged, smashing the glowing weapon across his helmet. Sparks flew as the man fell, but behind him more shadows filled the cave. The human's lungs burned. He couldn't hold them forever. He looked at the girl, at the mother, at the crystal glowing like a living heart in his hand. This was his choice. His moment, run and live, or fight and become something more. His voice echoed like steel. "If they want this crystal, they'll have to kill me first." The girl's eyes widened with awe. The mother closed her eyes, her lips whispering words in a language he didn't know. Blessing, prayer, or farewell, he couldn't tell. The soldiers lifted their weapons as one. The cave filled with the high-pitched whine of charging energy. The human raised his blade and the glowing crystal together. His stance was firm. His eyes were fire. The choice was made. The cave exploded with light. The cave burst with light. Blue fire ran along the walls and the soldiers staggered back, blinded. The crystal in the human's hand pulsed like a living star, its energy flooding the chamber. The human shielded the girl with his arm, teeth clenched as the glow cut through the smoke. When the light faded, the cave was half destroyed. Stones cracked and tumbled. The air was thick with dust. Several soldiers lay unconscious, armor smoking. Others rose, furious, weapons glowing hotter than before. The human didn't wait. He grabbed the girl's hand. "Run!" The mother tried to rise but collapsed back against the wall, her body too weak. Her voice low but sharp, cut through the chaos. "Go, take her, take the crystal, live!" The girl screamed, "No, Mom!" But the human pulled her away. He didn't look back. He couldn't. They darted through a narrow tunnel, rocks falling around them. The ground trembled under heavy steps. The beast was coming too. Its roar shook the earth, louder, closer. The tunnel burst open into the ruins of an ancient city, half buried in swamp mud. Towers leaned like broken teeth, glowing faintly with alien carvings. The air buzzed with strange energy. The girl stumbled but kept running. Her breath came in sharp sobs. She'll die if we leave her." The human's voice was harsh, but his grip on her hand was steady. "If we stay, we all die." Behind them, shouts rose as soldiers poured out of the cave. Red lights cut through the fog, beams of energy chasing across the ruins. The human and the girl leapt over fallen pillars, splashed through shallow pools, and squeezed between broken archways. The crystal glowed brighter in his hand, lighting their path but also drawing attention. He cursed under his breath. "It's like a beacon. They'll follow us anywhere." The girl's voice shook. "Then maybe it wants to be seen. Maybe it's guiding us." The human didn't answer. He only ran faster. A blast of blue energy struck the wall beside them, exploding stone into dust. The girl cried out. The human pushed her forward, never slowing. Another blast hit near his leg, heat searing his skin. The ruins became a maze. Narrow alleys, fallen bridges, cracked statues staring with hollow eyes. The human's lungs burned, but he kept going. Survival demanded it. Then came a sound that froze him mid-step. A deep growl. From the shadows, the beast stepped forward, taller than 3 men, its body armored with black scales. Its mouth dripped glowing venom. 4 burning eyes locked onto them, and its claws tore into the stone floor. The girl whimpered, clutching the human's sleeve. "It found us." The soldiers closed in behind, shouting orders. They were trapped between hunters and monster. The human tightened his grip on the crystal. His mind raced. Soldiers in front, beast behind. No way through. Unless... He spotted a collapsed tower leaning against another, forming a jagged ramp leading higher into the ruins. Dangerous, unstable, but it was the only path. "This way," he shouted. They scrambled up the broken stones as the beast roared and soldiers fired. Blue blasts cracked the tower, pieces tumbling under their feet. The human dragged the girl higher, ignoring the pain tearing through his body. The tower shook violently. Dust rained down. The beast slammed against the base, shaking it like thunder. At the top, a broken bridge stretched across a deep pit. The other side glowed faintly with strange light, like a hidden gate. The girl stared, horrified. "We'll fall. We'll fly," the human growled. He lifted her into his arms, clutching the crystal tight, and ran across the crumbling bridge. Behind him, the beast roared. The soldiers shouted. Blasts struck the stone, shaking it apart. The bridge collapsed just as they leapt. For one heartbeat, they were weightless, falling into nothing. Then, light. The crystal flared, wrapping them in a glowing shield. They landed hard on the other side, rolling across the cracked floor. The human groaned, rising to his knees. The girl clung to him, eyes wide with shock. The ruins behind them crumbled into dust, swallowing soldiers and beast in the chaos. The gap between them was now too wide to cross. For the moment, they were safe. But the crystal still glowed, brighter than ever, and the human could feel it whispering inside his mind, calling him toward the hidden gate ahead. The chase was not over. It had only just begun. The ruins were silent now, except for the human's heavy breathing and the soft sobs of the alien girl. Dust floated in the air like fading stars. The bridge behind them had collapsed, cutting off the soldiers and the beast. For the first time, there was no sound of pursuit. Yet the human did not relax. His hand still gripped the glowing crystal. Its light was no longer faint, it blazed almost alive as if guiding him forward. The girl wiped her tears with the back of her hand and whispered, "Why does it shine like that with you?" The human shook his head. "I don't know." But deep inside, he felt something stirring. When he touched the crystal, it was as if it remembered him, as if it had been waiting. Ahead of them stood a wide stone arch, carved into the wall of the ruins. Strange alien symbols glowed faintly along its edge. The air around it shimmered like heat waves, and the ground trembled under a hidden pulse. The girl pointed with wide eyes. "That's the gate, the place Mom spoke of." The human approached slowly. As he lifted the crystal, the symbols on the arch flared to life, glowing brighter until the whole structure hummed with power. The girl gasped. "It responds to you." The human frowned. "Why me? I'm no one, just a wanderer." Before she could answer, the crystal's light expanded, wrapping both of them in a glow. The world shifted. The air bent. In a blink, they were pulled inside. The ruins vanished. They stood in a vast chamber made of silver stone, smooth and endless. The walls shone with moving images, scenes of stars, planets, and battles long forgotten. Strange voices whispered from everywhere, not in words, but in feelings. The girl clutched his arm, her eyes wide with awe. This is the memory of the ancients." The human's gaze was locked on the walls. He saw figures, beings that looked like her people, tall and blue-skinned, working beside humans. Side by side, they built ships, cities, worlds. He saw humans holding crystals, unlocking doors of light, commanding great machines. Then the images darkened. War, betrayal, armies of armored aliens turning against the humans. Records burned, the truth erased. The whispers grew louder until one voice rose above the rest. Clear, strong, ancient, human, you were meant to be our equal, our partner. But fear destroyed the bond. The galaxy was broken. The crystal is the last key, and only your kind can awaken it again. The human staggered back, his heart racing. His voice shook. This can't be real. Humans were never part of this galaxy. We were just small. The voice replied, echoing in his mind. Small, but unbroken, strong when all else falls. That is why the crystal chose you. The girl looked at him, her face shining with both fear and hope. Do you see now? This is why my mother risked everything. You're the one who can finish what was lost. The human's throat was dry. He wanted to deny it, to throw the crystal away, to pretend he was still just a traveler. But the light in his hand pulsed with every beat of his heart. The truth was undeniable. He stared at the images one last time, humans and aliens standing together as equals, long ago. A partnership buried under centuries of lies. And then the vision faded. They stood once more at the archway in the ruins. The crystal's light dimmed but still pulsed, steady and alive. The girl looked at him with trembling hope. Now you know. Now you understand why they will never stop hunting you. The human's jaw tightened. He understood. The soldiers weren't after just a stone. They were after history itself. But before he could speak, a chilling voice echoed from the shadows behind them. Impressive, it said. The human spun around. From the broken ruins stepped a figure taller and stronger than the rest, a commander in black armor, his eyes burning red through his visor. His weapon glowed with deadly power. The girl gasped, her face pale. It's him, the one who leads them. The commander's voice was cold as steel. The crystal belongs to us. Hand it over, human, or die with her. The human gripped the crystal tighter. His heart pounded. The ancient truth had been revealed. Now came the price of carrying it. The ruins were silent except for the faint hum of the crystal. The human stood tall, sweat dripping down his face, knife in one hand, crystal glowing in the other. Across the broken floor, the alien commander stepped forward, black armor gleaming under the pale light. His soldiers fanned out behind him, weapons raised, eyes burning red. The little girl clung to the human's arm, whispering, "He's the one who ordered my mother's death." The commander's voice cut through the air, sharp as a blade. "You should never have touched that crystal, human. It does not belong to you." The human's jaw tightened. His voice was low but firm. "Then why does it answer me? Why does it burn in my hand like it's alive? You fear it, don't you?" The commander's helmet tilted slightly, his voice dripping with contempt. "We do not fear humans. We ended your kind long ago. You are nothing but scattered dust among the stars." The crystal pulsed brighter, almost as if it disagreed. Its glow spread across the ruins, casting long shadows. The girl's eyes widened. "It's protecting you." The commander raised his weapon, its energy charging with a high-pitched whine. "Enough! Hand it over, or I will burn you where you stand." The human lifted the crystal high. His heart pounded, but his voice was steady. "If you want it, come and take it." The commander roared, charging forward with terrifying speed. The clash began. The human dove aside as a blast scorched the ground. He rolled, came up on one knee, and fired the stolen alien weapon he carried. Blue light slammed into the commander's armor, but the giant only staggered. The girl cried out, ducking behind fallen stones as soldiers closed in. The human spun, firing again and again, cutting down 2 soldiers, dodging blasts that scorched the air. But the commander kept coming, unstoppable, his blade of pure energy crackling in the dark. The human swung his knife, sparks flying as it clashed against the glowing blade. The force nearly knocked him down, but he held firm. His muscles screamed. Yet something inside, the fire of the crystal, gave him strength. "You fight like prey," the commander snarled, pressing down hard. The human gritted his teeth. "No, I fight like a human." With a roar, he twisted, kicking the commander's leg out from under him. The alien staggered, and the human drove the crystal against the black armor. Light exploded. The commander screamed as the glow cut through his armor, searing deep. The soldiers froze, blinded by the brilliance. The ruins shook, ancient symbols blazing to life all around them. The girl shielded her eyes, shouting, "It's waking the old power." The human stood in the storm of light, the crystal burning in his hand, feeding his courage. He could feel it. Centuries of memory, strength of the forgotten bond, voices of the ancients whispering through him. Protect, guide, endure. He raised the crystal high. A wave of energy burst outward, slamming into the soldiers. They were hurled back like leaves in a storm. Weapons shattered, armor cracked. The commander, bleeding and broken, staggered to his knees. His helmet sparked, his voice shaking with rage. "This is not the end. The galaxy will come for you. Every world. Every army. You cannot fight them all." The human stepped closer, crystal blazing in his hand. His voice was calm, steady, unshakable. "Then let them come. Humanity doesn't run. We endure." With one final strike of light, the commander fell. His body collapsed into silence, his weapon flickering out. The ruins grew still. The girl slowly rose from her hiding place, her small face wet with tears. She ran to the human and wrapped her arms around him. "You saved us. You saved my mom's hope." The human knelt, placing a hand on her shoulder. His voice softened. "No, we saved each other." Above them, the night sky broke open. Clouds drifted apart, revealing stars bright and endless. The crystal pulsed gently, no longer fierce but steady, like a heartbeat waiting for tomorrow. The girl looked up at him, her voice trembling. "What happens now?" The human gazed at the stars, the crystal warm in his hand. He knew the commander was right. Armies would come. The galaxy would hunt him. But he also knew something else. This was only the beginning. His lips curved into a faint, determined smile. "Now, we fight for the truth." And with the child at his side, he stepped forward into the ruins, carrying the light of a secret that could change the galaxy forever.